Take it away, fellas.
Thank you, voice girl, and welcome once again to another edition of the Manspace Podcast. Now, this is the voice of Russ, and with me, as always, who we just found out why he was missing last week is because he found out that Hooters is closing. The one and only Big Lex.
Oh man, you kill me, dog. They're the worst chicken wings in the country. You know what I'm saying?
Dog. I can't co-sign with you on that one.
They're
I
the
can't
worst wings
co-sign
in the
with you.
country, man.
I've had worse, but
Okay,
they hit a spot, bro.
they in the bottom. They're in the bottom 5 for me.
Hey,
Yeah.
if you're getting them frozen,
Frozen, who get frozen
If you get
Hooters wings?
hey, they used to sell them in the frozen section of the grocery store.
Did they?
Now, if you get them that way, okay, I'll co-sign with you. But if you going in the store and you going in the restaurant rather, and you sit down and you get you some Hooters wings, and they've even gone further because I have gone there within the last 5 years. I will just say that much. I have gone there within the last 5 years. They have different flavors. It's not just a tradition. Yes. It's not just a traditional wing sauce. Because you know what? Being down south, they were like the first ones to bring wings, buffalo style wings, down to the south. So it's like when that's the first one that Hooters was it.
Yeah.
There wasn't no Buffalo Wild Wings or Wild Wing Cafe or none of that stuff. Hooters was the one that brought the wings down south first.
Yeah, nah, bro. I mean, come on. There's some more viable options out there. You know what I'm saying?
Now, yes. Yeah. Now they are.
Yeah.
Go down to Myrtle Beach late at night and you ride the strip at 10 o'clock. There ain't too much open outside of Hooters. Everything that's open is on the sketchy side. So you will find yourself in a Hooters after 10 o'clock at night.
I ain't got no comment. No comment. No comment. I'm just going to say, okay. All right. Okay. Because you are right that ain't nothing open but sketchiness.
Yeah.
Because all the goodness is closed.
You're right. The goodness is closed. Especially you go there during the wintertime, during the off season. Because a lot of the restaurants are only open during the summer.
Yeah, they open in
winter
March.
Season, they're closed, right?
Yep, they open from March to like December, right after Thanksgiving, or right the weekend before Thanksgiving.
The weekend before Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
and then they close up because the tourist season is done.
That's horrible that we know that.
Yeah, because that's the time I like to go because a lot of the tourists is gone. It's not as crowded.
Yeah,
but then you pay for it because there ain't nothing open.
And you pay premium prices for it.
Right.
You know, because there's a little, I forgot the name of it, but there's like a little bar or something right there, right in the on the strip down there. I can't call the name of it, but they got some pretty good food. It's like a couple levels, and I can't remember, Riptides, I think it's called. I don't.
Okay.
You know, but anyway, they got some pretty good food in there. Yeah. It's more of a drinking establishment. Yeah. But I've had wings and drinks.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I had too many drinks, but the wings were good to me. I remember taking some back to the hotel.
Did go to a soul food spot down there that was quite good.
I don't like it.
Really?
Yep.
No. Okay, we're gonna compare notes and see if we're talking about the same spot off air. We're not gonna do this on air right now.
No, we're not gonna do it on air, but I'm pretty sure it, we talking about the same place.
Little hole in the wall spot.
Little hole in the wall spot on the right hand side of the road. If you're going, yeah. Got a little walk up joint right there. Yep. We talking about the same spot. We didn't talk about it before.
I see. as long as I've known you, our taste buds
they are different.
rather on. I think
No, but
with the exception of Crystals and White Castles, I think that our taste buds have been very similar.
Okay, you are right, because we do have a huge gap with White Castles and Crystals.
Yes.
Yeah. I eat them both, but you didn't like my Coney dogs either, though, in Michigan. But that's a different thing, right?
I thought the chili was average.
It's homegrown, you know, and that's when you're raised on something, that's what you like, you know. But I understand. But this place, I don't know. It could have just been what I had.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll give you that.
All right.
I'll give you that.
Okay.
We won't go any further. But you know what, man?
What's up?
We haven't done this in a while.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
What really grinds my gears, bro? Grinds my gears, man.
Tell us about it.
When you sit there and you scroll through social media and you see somebody that's doing one of these numbers in a video, you know, pointing back at the thing that's in the middle of the screen or the little video, and they sitting there, you know, point. That's the first way to get me to scroll over it.
Yeah.
I can't stand that. If your face is in the middle of the video while a video is playing, I'm not watching it.
Yeah, I feel.
Don't care. I'm scroll. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
You know, at least be creative. Show me some creativity when you repurpose somebody else's stuff. Don't just be there pointing at the screen.
Yeah.
Wait.
Did you see this? Did you see this?
I can't stand it. I can't stand that. That grinds my gears. I was sitting there, you know, I had some time. Did a road trip with the wife. Was at a conference. Had some time sitting there at a table by myself for a while. So I'm scrolling, and I was like, nope, not watching.
It's amazing how many people reuse other people's videos.
Yes.
To get clout. You see the ones that they're side by side, and it's just a fake laughter, like somebody was laughing at one time, and they try to put it next to a video that's supposed to be funny, and they like, and it ain't nothing funny over there.
Nothing funny.
Yeah. I hate those videos. I want to smack the AI genius whoever created those, because I'm sure that's what happened.
So I went to Jacksonville over the weekend. Right?
Yeah.
Stayed at a really nice hotel right off the. I'm not gonna say which hotel it was, but it was right off the St. Johns River.
Okay.
Beautiful view.
Yeah.
Beautiful scenery. Right. Went to a restaurant.
Yeah.
The first thing they bring you is water. I'm like, okay, I've been driving. I've been in the car. I'm behind on my water. I'm a little parched. I'm gonna drink some water, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna drink some water. Disgusting.
Oh wow.
It's disgusting. It tasted like it had like some car exhaust.
Shane from St. John's River.
Dude, I'm like, you know your water is bad. Put some Dasani in. I don't even like Dasani, but I would have drank Dasani over there.
Right.
You know, I noticed they had Aquafina everywhere. They could have opened some bottles of Aquafina. Don't try to sit there and pour this crap out the tap, because it was disgusting, dog.
Oh my god!
It literally. Have you caught like the exhaust fumes in your mouth? That's the way this water tasted.
Oh yeah. And they don't care. That's why a lot of times I'll get the water, I'll sip it first to see. I'm like, okay, I can handle this one. But there's some, bro, tastes like it's got octane in it.
It made me question everything that was cooked, because I'm like, okay, whatever I eat can't be boiled in this water. Whatever
Yeah.
I drink I
Mhm.
can't drink anything from a tap. I gotta
Yeah.
get whatever's gotta be bottled. So that was my weekend, dog. I'm just
Oh,
like, this is
wow.
horrible. Like
Wow.
everything, yeah, yeah.
See, but that's when you go to the grocery store and you just get
Yeah,
you a 30 pack and,
mhm,
and take you
yeah,
about 5 or 10 bottles to the room, you know,
yeah.
get them cold.
Oh, that's
And
what we did.
that's what you
We
did.
go out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's
Uh-huh.
like, have you ever been to the St. Johns River?
Yes, I have.
Dog,
Yeah.
that thing looks as dark. It looked like somebody
It's
poured
like
straight hot cocoa
dirty water,
throughout the
bro.
water. That
That's
is
why I
the
said
dirtiest
that,
water I've ever seen.
that's why I said like they got it from the St. John's. That is the darkest river. Now, don't get me wrong. Mississippi got some dark areas too,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I have not seen one darker than that.
Mm-mm.
To be a ocean community, that's
Right.
that's not good.
Dog. I went and I'm standing there by the water and
Mhm.
I'm looking down and I can see like bubbles coming up out the water. So I'm like, there's something living in that water, right?
Oh yeah,
So I'm like, okay, I'm looking and I could see like little baby fish. Like I see a
Mhm.
school of little baby fish swim by,
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
were right up on the top. Every now
Mhm.
and then I see something pop up out the water. I'm like, okay, what's in there?
Yeah,
So I'm like fascinated to see what's in there.
yeah. You ready for it to
But
come out? Yeah.
yeah, but it's like I can never you can't see through it. It's so
Mhm.
dark.
Yeah, yeah. It's like mud, man. But
It's
uh like this is what I was taught. How can you tell if alligators in the water? If you touch it, if it's wet, there's alligators in it. Your boy don't mess around. No, nowhere
if it's
past.
wet.
If it's wet, it's got alligators in it in Florida, bro. I didn't see too much. I'm and nope, ain't doing it. Not gonna do it. Sorry, sir. Nope, I don't
Yeah.
care. If you fall in the water, I'm gonna find a long pole. You better hurry.
Mm.
You better be able to swim by the time I can knock a tree down. You
No, no, no. Awful.
know.
Just awful. Just awful.
Oh, so what else did you do in Jacksonville, man? Did you do anything fun outside of work?
I did not, man.
No, you
No,
just
I did not. I went to a conference down there,
yeah.
which was a amazing event.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Got to meet this really amazing comedian.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mr. Charles
Oh,
is
Mr.
his name.
Child.
Yeah, he
He sound
was
like he funny.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was hilarious. So made a contact with him.
Awesome.
Yeah, just really, really funny guy. I
Okay.
mean, when a comedian starts to laugh at their own stuff,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really getting good.
Yeah.
And he just had us. He had us crying, man. He
That's
was
what's
good.
up. That's
We
what's
enjoyed
up.
ourselves. Yeah,
Yeah.
really
You,
funny.
I mean, I was surprised, you got you a pretty free weekend, you know. You
Yeah.
take mama to the movies, nothing,
No, mm-mm. No.
no.
I mean, our days were so long down there, and
Yeah. Well, yeah,
yeah,
conferences are
yeah,
8 a.m. to 6 p.m. sometimes,
yeah.
you know.
And then we had a little ball that night and
Hmm.
everything. So, it was good though. It was
Huh.
good. It was a really good time. Really good event, man.
Okay.
But we're gonna take a break and
Yeah.
reset. Um, First of all, before we take the break, I want to thank our special guest from last week for filling in for you, Mr. Dave Williams.
Hey,
Uh,
hey, appreciate that,
yeah,
Dave.
we had a really good conversation last week. So in case
Hmm.
you missed that, you guys can check that out again on the Manspace Podcast .com. You can check it out on Spotify, Apple, all the good spots where you can catch our podcast on the audio side.
Hmm.
But you can also, because you've probably already missed it, where it aired 2 days early
Up,
on
up.
WTMS. So if you're watching this episode, you can possibly catch it on Thursday on our Throwback Thursday
There you
edition
go.
of the Manspace Podcast.
Yeah.
So make sure you catch us on Thursdays, the Man Space Podcast, with back-to-back
right.
episodes of the Man Space Podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, big bro,
What's going on, though?
besides giving me an education on where Jacksonville was located on the map, I want to get into this topic. I sent you a video, and I thought it was really a good discussion point because I think that it covers both of us. I would consider. I never thought there was a difference between being an alpha male and a masculine male.
Masculine male.
I always configured both of them to be one and the same. And I think that a lot of times when we first met each other, I think that you were more of the alpha where I was more of the masculine male. And it's not to say that you're not a masculine male, you know, but it's just you were more that alpha male type and I was more of the masculine male type, right? But I want to play this video for the Man Space Nation, and if you're listening, listen in, and let's have a little bit of a discussion about this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna drop us out of it so that way we're not pointing back at the screen, looking, you know, doing it.
Let me tell you what my husband told me on our second date. I'm like telling him about the alpha males that pursue me and they come after me, and why aren't you doing that? And he said, I'm a masculine man. I'm not an alpha male. He said alpha males are hunters, but they're not keepers. He said, I'm a keeper. He said, but masculine men will always stand behind alpha men who are always talking and toting and bravadoing. He goes, and we'll just wait for them to run out of gas. He said, but we don't ever try to get in front of them. But we're the ones that's always there for you when you're crying. We're the ones that's always going to support you through your hard time. But we're also the ones you're always going to step over to get to the alpha male. He said, because television polarizes, displays, and honors the alpha male. He goes, and I have nothing against them. He said, but there's a whole group of beautiful men called masculine men. And we're not aggressive. And we're not bravado. That's not our personality. But we will just be there for you.
What do you think about that, big bro?
I mean, honestly, I think she's telling the truth a little bit. I think she has some meat there. You know, I may not agree with all of it, but because I believe in a man will change for what he wants. So if you're an alpha male and you're too much for this woman as an alpha, you may have to change who you are a little bit. It will come naturally though, because you want to keep that relationship, you know. But masculine man kind of sounds like you ever heard of a Sigma male?
I've never heard that term, the Sigma male.
Yeah, there is another, and I think they're kind of the same. They're just being called something different, right?
Okay.
But a Sigma male is a strong male, just like the alpha, but he's not as upfront, you know, the pushy, the hunter. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of I don't know. I think there's some validity to it, you know.
So the definition, the alpha male, traditionally refers to a dominant type personality,
right?
Often the confident, assertive, socially influential. It's you know, the big personality type person that you would see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the masculine male refers to someone who embodies traits or culturally or personally associated with masculinity, such as
Mm-hmm.
strength,
Right.
responsibility, emotional restraint, protectiveness. And they're also a leader. They're a leader just like the alpha male is a leader, just a leader in a different way.
Right.
But it's the more it's the quiet strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
protective nature, right?
Right.
So a masculine male might lead with quiet confidence, integrity, and emotional intelligence rather than ego and aggression of the alpha male.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say I used to have that alpha male trait.
I think, and that's why I went back when I said it.
Yeah,
When
I
we
think
first met,
when we first met, I think
yeah,
I was in
yeah,
that alpha male
yeah,
stage, you know,
yeah. So marriage has
aggression
changed,
and bold.
right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because you've adapted and evolved
Right.
from that trait
Mm-hmm.
into more
Yeah,
of the
more of the
masculine
masculine
male,
now. Yeah, the
right? You
protector, the
still
provider.
have those moments, and I
Yeah,
think I have those moments
yeah,
where the bravado is going to come out, but
yeah.
it's a different, it's a quiet
I
confidence.
think it's a necessary tool to have in your bucket,
Yeah.
right? And as men, we need to know when we need to be the man we need to be, if that makes
Right.
sense
Oh
to
yeah. Of
people.
course. Of course. Yes.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So at times you have to be that alpha. You have to stand out
Hmm.
front. You have to be aggressive and boisterous and get these things out. You know, and not necessarily have somebody follow you or be the leader, but at times people look to you as the man of the house to be
Right.
the leader, right? And you have to make some of these decisions. You got to step out there, you know.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's best to sit back. And that shows more strength than anything because you're not engaging. You're controlling yourself and you're still steering the ship by, hey, let's being calm, being, cooperative, you know,
Hmm.
helping others and doing things. You're still steering the ship, you know. I think it's just another way of leadership.
How do you feel? Because it was mentioned in there that the media plays a part in it, right? So I
Yeah,
feel that the media and pop culture influence
that
what
alpha male thing. Yeah.
as an alpha male or
Hmm.
masculine male.
Hmm. Well, I do. I think that the the media, the movies, and even social media, they glorify that. You know what I mean? So it makes it seem like this is what you want. You know, you need an alpha man in your life. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? But some women just, you're not going to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Because there's a such thing as an alpha female as well,
yes,
and they
there is.
generally don't match.
The alpha female, and the first thing that came to my mind was Robin Givens in Boomerang
Hmm.
as the alpha female.
Alpha female. Yep.
Yeah,
Hmm. She's not looking for alpha male. Actually,
right, right.
you
Eddie Murphy was the
Eddie
alpha male,
Eddie Murphy was.
whereas
Yep.
his buddy Gerard was the
Beta.
masculine male.
Well, was he a masculine man or a beta man? We'll stick with the two. We'll stick with
Mm. Yeah,
we'll stick with the two that we're working with, the masculine man and the alpha. So yeah, the masculine man. Yes.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would say that he's more of a masculine man because when you look at it from him, from I mean, yeah, he didn't have the confidence or of a alpha male, or what you would typically think of as a masculine male, but he was trying to be the caretaker. He was trying to be the protective one of Angela, right? When it comes to that movie, right?
And a lot of times that's how it works in real life. You know what I mean? Everybody can't be masculine. Everybody can't be the alpha. You know what I'm saying?
You know, when you look at the media, and especially when you look at our society as a whole, because a lot of times you look at music videos, especially when you're listening to hip hop and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're promoting how many women they can get and all this other stuff. That's the alpha male culture. That's the big jewelry, the the Louis Vuittons, the expensive cars, and every time you turn around, there's a different Instagram model off their arm and stuff like that. That's that alpha male mentality. And a lot of times, even when we treat our children, when you look at it, how we'll treat a boy differently than we'll treat a girl as men.
That's crazy. You bring that up. I just told someone today that, it's a blessing to be a girl dad, because he teaches you so much more, even about yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I said to them, I said, God knew what he was doing when he gave me 2 boys first. He gave me girls when I was ready to be in girls' lives, to be that silent protector, that pillar, to stand up behind them, to let them fall, but not let them bump their heads. You know what I mean? It took a long time for me to be ready for that. Some guys are ready for that right out the gate. Right? I wasn't. I'm a boy dad. Right? Let's go get dirty. Let's go fight. Let's go do all of these things. Let's go get cuts. Let's break something. Let's just get this out the way, son. You're gonna be okay. Put some dirt on it.
But if you sat there and talked to your son at 16, and he's talking to you about his girl, your advice to your son talking to a girl, it's gonna be very different than your advice to a daughter
talking
to you about a boy.
Yeah, man.
Because all the games and everything that the boys play, because you did it.
Exactly.
Right? So you're like, nah, no, this ain't happening. But with your son, you'd be like, all right, my man.
Yeah. You got to play it like this, cuz. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's different.
Yeah, and I believe that, you're shown this by other men in your family as well. Not even just movies and stuff. Because you got to think about it. When we were growing up, they were masculine men in movies, alphas and stuff like that. But not as many as today that are showing up on every screen that you can look at. But we still somehow became alphas.
I think that the generation before us, because Shaft was out, Dolomite and all that other stuff was out. It was out, but it wasn't in a generation where we were watching. I don't know about you, but for me, it wasn't anything I watched, right?
No.
It was before my time. So when I saw that, I was an adult by the time I saw any of that
stuff. Well, I seen
it
when I was younger too, but
I didn't see any of that. My experience with Alpha Male was Captain Kirk.
Bang bang, player, bang bang.
Right. Because he was knocking off green women.
I mean, for real, blue, green, pointed ears. It didn't matter.
Right. It didn't matter. He was the original in Mr. International.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
But you go back to that generation before us, and now it's like they saw all that Superfly and everything.
Yeah,
They came
yeah,
up in that Isaac Hayes era, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so those are the
hmm
uncles
Yeah,
that were influencing us.
yeah, that is true. Yeah, the uncles, the neighbors, you know,
Yeah,
yeah, your
yeah,
friend's
because
dad.
society was very different.
Yeah. Mhm.
Now, if you know the neighbors beside you, if you know the names of your neighbors beside you, you're lucky.
You're doing very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let alone the street. Because, when I grew up, and I'm sure this was when you grew up as well, all the neighbors knew all the children. All
Yes.
the children knew all
Yes.
of the neighbors.
Yes.
And
Because
when
we all
somebody,
went to school together.
yeah, and when somebody moved in, all the kids was down there trying to figure out if you had kids. You
Right.
know,
That's it. That's it.
we want to see who you are too.
Hmm.
Everybody knew each other,
Yeah.
and discipline was done on a much bigger level.
Hmm.
I was always threatened. Don't let such and such call me and tell me you down there acting a fool.
Right. Yep. 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 So true.
You know what I
Don't
mean?
act up.
Don't act up because when they call and tell it, you already know what it is.
Hmm.
But you can't. That type of thing has been lost in the
Yeah.
system now. It's been removed. We no longer
Hmm.
raise our children in the village.
Right.
You know, yeah, another subject. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, you're right. Some of that Dolomite and what was
Right.
my man's name? There was the pimp and all of that other good jazz. Yeah,
Oh, Iceberg Slim.
Iceberg Slim. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
was allowed to watch some of those black exploitation films.
I I did not watch any of them. I
Yeah,
didn't. I heard titles, and I still have watched very few of those to this day.
man, Rudy Ray Moore was was my uncle's favorite, bro.
Dolomite.
The Dolomite,
Mm,
was the devil's son-in-law or the devil's
yeah.
son-in-law, bro. He said he came out 12 years old. The doctor slapped him and he slapped the doctor back. You know what I'm saying? There's some few other choice words that went
Right.
along
Right.
with
Right.
that.
Right.
But Dolomite was I mean Rudy Ray Moore. If everybody, that's the Dolomite's real name. But that dude he was something else. Yeah.
So you mentioned how you transitioned
Yes.
from alpha into more of the masculine male,
Mm-hmm.
but did it take you getting into a relationship with the now Mrs. Les, or were you already in that process before her?
No, I was not in the process before her. I was
So do,
all
so
alpha.
do you feel that for, and this is not directed at you or
Mhm.
you and your wife, but
Yeah.
do you feel that more women are going to go after that alpha with the hope or mindset that they can change that person?
I don't think
Because
so.
you adapted, right?
Well,
So a lot of times, a lot of men, and that's where you see a lot of relationships fail.
mhm.
And it's not to say that's the cause, but you see a lot of relationships fail because they feel like, okay, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna change this dude, and he ain't trying to change.
Mhm.
He's still gonna be that alpha type, and now you're
Relationship.
gone,
Yeah,
right?
relationship is bad.
Now,
Yeah.
yeah. So now you got a kid from this dude, or two kids from this dude, and he going on, and he got him another one.
Yeah.
You
Got
know,
two more kids because that's what
right,
alphas you're gonna do what
right.
they do. But I think for me, what happened is I knew very early on that, you know, she was a good one,
Mhm.
right? And I had to kind of rethink, reevaluate, because here was the other issue. She was an alpha as well.
Mm.
right? She's independent. She took care of her business. You know, she prided herself on that, because the reason it took us so long to get married is because she says, I didn't want you to tell me what to do.
Mm.
Even though she's telling a story, because I never told her what to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I would try to influence things. You know what I mean? By being the strong, silent, and saying, hey, asking questions, really trying to get into her thought process of what she's doing and stuff like that. Offer my assistance, try to, and put myself in the place and not take over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because before I was just been like, watch out, let me do it. Let me just handle it. Right. And she didn't want that type of male, because every time I was getting, before we got to the place that where we could trust each other 100% in this area, it was, no, I got it. I like to be in charge of what I do, okay. And you have to respect that. And I gave her that space in that room to do that. And I also gave her the space in the room to stop having to be an alpha woman.
Mm.
Right. And allow me to step up and fill in to some places. And before you know it, she stepped further and further and further away from that. Right. And I don't have to go out here and be blah, all that stuff. I go left, she go left.
Yeah.
We're in
Do you
sync.
think that society today tries to pressure men into adapting that alpha male persona, even though it doesn't align with who they are? It tries to push men toward it.
I'm going to be very careful how I say this. I'm going to choose my words carefully.
Okay.
I think society has a way of pushing people to do things they not necessarily need to do or want to do. I think
Okay.
people want to be a part of something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
and gaining labels and things like that, right? Because
The fit-in culture.
the fit-in culture, exactly. I think we're more in that era than anything, right? Because there's still some kids out here want to be alphas, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some kids out here that just want to be, left alone, more so the masculines, but there's another subset of kids that just want to fit in,
Right.
and they're being pushed into these buckets, and they're not necessarily these people. They're not just masculine and alphas, but there's a lot of different buckets, but I think society has a lot to do with it. Our culture, our what we feed, the programming, let's just say that, the programming, you know there's a lot of that going on out here in this world now. you know oh, you don't like chicken, oh, so you're not Chick-fil-A. Why I gotta have a title? Why should there
Right.
be a title?
It's funny that you mentioned the program, because my wife spoke at the conference that I was mentioning earlier, and she talked about how we're programmed.
Yes.
Today. So like, if I say the best part of waking up, you say,
It's Folgers in my cup.
there you go. We're programmed.
I mean, that's horrible.
Yeah.
But we both know the tag. We both know it.
Yeah.
And we've been programmed since, I don't know when Folgers came out.
Right.
When that slogan came out. But it's almost timeless.
It is.
Right? Because I bet you there's yeah.
So silently, we've been, whether you've ever even had a cup of Folgers in your life, you knew the slogan.
Yeah.
And so silently, whether we knew it or not, TV media
Radio. Yeah.
is programming us.
Yeah, continuously. Yeah.
What we see, they don't have to be overt about it, but they're doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's nothing sexual. It's not, any of these type of things. It's just a slogan that says this. And you remember it for 50, 60, 70 years. But just think about all the subtle programming that's being done right now to your children.
Right now. Yes. So I used to be around friends, associates that would not allow their children to watch Nickelodeon shows or Disney shows, right? Because they felt like on these little teeny bopper shows, the parents were always made to look stupid. The children were very disrespectful to the parents.
Yes.
In a lot of these shows, right?
Yes.
So they wouldn't watch those shows. Whereas I watched them, I wouldn't, Little Russ didn't watch them by herself. We watched the shows together. So we knew it was a TV show, but it was stuff that we watched together. So we understood those shows together. It was like stuff for us to talk about. So the episodes, we would sit down and talk about the episodes. So it wasn't just me sitting her down, putting her in front of a TV, and then me going to do something else. It was me interacting with her.
Right.
And so I think that's where a lot of it, if you're not using it the right way.
I agree 100%. Leaving the child to digest that type of media alone is a dangerous combination. And there's a lot of children, including some of my grandchildren, that are cell phone babies.
Yeah. Yes. They all are these days.
Cell phone babies.
They all are these days.
Tablet babies. They're consuming media at rates that has never been seen before. We didn't consume that type of media.
Right.
We watched cartoons on Saturday morning, and we were outside the rest of the day.
Right.
I grew up. It was color TV, still black and white TV. Yeah.
I want to get into this in these last few minutes here because my wife and I were having the same discussion, and I think this kind of fits in. When we hear so much out there, especially on social media, of men, preachers, and all bashing Tyler Perry for dressing up like a woman and saying that he's trying to promote this culture, right? But these same people are not saying anything about Flip Wilson, who did it. They're not saying anything about Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, who did it. All these men. And it didn't dawn on me because every now and then I watch old movies. I watched Norbit over the weekend. Right. You had Norbit, where Eddie Murphy was dressed as a woman as Rasputia. I laughed all the way through the movie because it was funny to me. But you have people target out Tyler Perry in this. They don't target Eddie Murphy. They don't target Martin Lawrence. And do you feel like, because if you looked at Eddie Murphy and without knowing him, but seeing his body of work, you would consider Eddie Murphy an alpha male. You would consider Martin Lawrence an alpha male. Do you feel the same way when it comes to Tyler Perry? In my opinion, seeing from afar, seeing the interviews that I've seen of him, he's more of the he's not the alpha male in all of this.
He's not.
He's more of the masculine male. He's more the protector. He is a leader, but this is just seeing him from afar, from what I've glanced from watching his movies. So do you feel like that's why we put him, a lot of people, I'm not going to say we, but that's why you feel a lot of people put him in a different box than they do?
Yeah, because they don't see that. They don't see what the Eddie Murphys, the Flip Wilsons, the Martin Lawrences, was it a couple Wayans? They don't they don't see that masculine side of him. So they automatically assume that there's something else going on, right? Because they don't see that other side. Whether or not he is, he isn't, I don't really care about whatever. He's just,
I'm not going into like that
the
line
orientation. I get it. I get
right,
it.
right.
That's why I just
I'm
backed away
looking at
from
it
it.
strictly from alpha or masculine, and I'm putting him in that masculine boat.
Really? I think he's somewhere in between.
I don't think he's in between. I don't think he's, from what I've seen, like I said, don't know him.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen interviews. I've watched a handful of his movies or whatever, but only from interviews. I would consider him a masculine male.
Only from interviews.
Only from interviews. I don't know his personal life. I don't try to get into his personal life.
I'm not. I don't watch very many of his interviews. Mm-hmm. Right. I'm not going to say I'm not a fan. Mm-hmm. But I am. I'm indifferent. I some things, yeah, and some things not. Like, to me, he had a hard time playing Alex Cross, but of course he's an actor, right? So it is what it is. But I think some of those masculine traits would have helped in that. Some of those, not masculine, but alpha traits, could have helped in that movie for him. I don't know. I'm gonna get off of Tyler Perry because I don't know. I have some likes and some dislikes. How about that?
Okay.
So, I'm just not a huge fan of his. My wife likes it though.
I can accept that. I just look at, I'm not a fan because, as my wife thought that I did not like him because he was playing a woman. And I said, no, that's not it.
That's not it at all.
I care less about him playing a woman. I watched Steve Urkel do it, and I laughed. When Jaleel White did it, I laughed at all these other characters when they did it. It didn't matter to me when they played the woman in these roles. I watched White Chicks more than a dozen times. It was a hilarious movie to me, right? But it's more about, to me, it was about, I think his writing was not good. See, in all of his movies, men ain't crap in his movies.
That's last I had more one of them. Okay, so without me having to go there, because I pulled back, right? Mm-hmm. I pulled back, but I feel the same way. All of his movies are pooping on males.
Yes.
Every single one of them.
Every single one.
Well, take that back. Take that back. Didn't he do Three Little Girls?
Yes.
With Idris Elba?
Yes.
He kind of pooped on him, but he brought it back. Right? So, anyway, but I digress. You and I are in the same field in that one. I'm in the same field. I feel like he could do more with his movies, because all of them are about some cheating male, hurting some woman, or whatever. That's what his movies is about. And me as a man, I know that there's more to us than that.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
You're right. Let's go ahead and get the last word in.
And now, the last word.
So, since you were away last week, to give a last word here, Les, or would you like me to go ahead and do it so you can get your feet back into the game?
I mean, it doesn't matter. The last word for me today is be who you are. Stand firmly in your footprint. Alpha male, masculine male. I think there's room for change. Masculine men, whatever they call you, masculines, betas, sigma. It is what it is. But everybody knows what an alpha is. You know what I mean?
I can't let it go. I'm gonna have to jump in. I'm gonna have to jump in on this one. I mean, because I think that there is a true difference between an alpha male and masculine male, right? But the thing is, I think these terms are outdated. And you got to challenge the terms being classified as an alpha, being classified as masculine male. It opens the door for more healthy, authentic expressions of of manhood. And see, true masculinity, it's not about dominance. It's about character, confidence, and courage. And all I can say to you guys, Man Space Nation, is that you really got to take the time to grow and grow beyond the stereotypes.
And that's, well, I ain't gonna say that's what I meant, but you have to. I can't just, for some reason, this topic is like really. I got too much going on up here. You know what I mean? To get it all out, but I think that there's room to grow everywhere, right? And you got to know. I think every man has a little bit of all of it in him. It's, you have to learn when to turn it on and turn it off, and what situations to use what and what in. And I think that is a part of your growth, right?
Absolutely.
Because when you're young, you want to be the alpha, and then you learn that being an alpha is a lot of work, my guy. You know what I'm saying? And everybody don't respond to that, right? Yeah. So you got to learn what the person you want or the situation you want, how you want it to turn out. And that's the male you have to turn yourself into to get to whatever you're trying to get to, the bag, the lady, whatever. You have to make those choices. And I believe it. All of those things are within us.
Yeah.
Right. So you just got to know when to use it, when to put them feet to the ground. So
you're right. Let's take it to a break.
All right, brother.
As we do each week, we like to close the show with just a little bit of inspiration. It's human nature to want to avoid discomfort. It's human nature to want to take the easy route when it's available. But the truth is, things that matter most in life, no matter whether it's building something meaningful, growing into the person that you're meant to be, or making a real impact in this world, often require something that a lot of people are afraid of: effort, sacrifice, and persistence. The hard path isn't always going to be glamorous. It's not always going to be the fastest route, but it is always meant to be the one that leads to something that is real, something that is tangible. So don't be afraid of the struggle. Don't shy away from the long nights, the tough conversations, the uphill battles. Because if it's worth doing, it's worth doing well, even when it's tough. Every step you take through the difficulty is a step towards strength, clarity, and purpose. So keep showing up and keep pushing forward. And Man Space Nation, remind yourself, it's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be worth it.
anything that is worth having in your life is worth the effort, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, put in the work, man. If it's it means something to you, you're gonna do something about it to protect it, to take care of it. And I think a lot of that kind of goes back into the masculine side of you. If it means something to you, you're gonna try to protect it.
You're gonna protect it. There's no doubt if it means something to you, you know. But my key point, that takeaway I was always taught: easy come, easy go.
Yeah,
I was,
I
always
think you value something that you work hard to get.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like my wife has 3 doctorate degrees,
Mm-hmm.
right? So she gets a little offended sometimes when
she's not addressed as a doctor.
Yeah, as a doctor, right? She went to school very hard to earn her degrees.
I agree. I that's just respect, though, you know, and it's respect to the person that they did take their time and they did do those things. You know what I mean?
It's hard work. It takes a lot of effort to do it. And I mean, if everything came easy, we wouldn't respect it at all. I mean, you look at the microwave, man. We don't respect having a microwave because it does everything easy for us.
Everything. Because guess what? If it breaks, I'll just go get a new one.
Just get a new one.
I ain't gonna be upset about it. You know, I'm upset with spending the money, but I wasn't physically attached to that microwave. I need one that works. That's all I care about.
The microwave is your easy button. And unfortunately, we are in that microwave society. We want everything quick and fast. We don't want to put in the work. You look at, you look at the stock market now.
Yeah.
And how bad the stock market is right now. People are jumping in there right now, hoping that it's going to go up a little bit. And when it does, it goes up like 5 cents. Okay, I got some money out of it. And then they jump out.
Boom.
And drop it right back there. Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, this, you know, I always say, in anything you do and is worth having and worth doing, you got to set your eyes on the long run. You know, the long haul is where it all pays off. Yeah. You know, you do the small things in your marriage and you keep those things going. In the long haul, it all pays off, right? Yep. Because you spent your life next to someone who loves you and adores you, and you love and adore them. What else? What else is there?
What else is there? That's right.
What else is there?
That's right.
You know?
That's right. With that said, big bro, Manspace Nation, we mentioned it earlier. Catch this episode and many more 2 days early, all new episodes, WTMSTV.com every Monday at 8. Brand new episodes of the Manspace Podcast. And then on Thursdays, it is Throwback Thursdays with the Manspace Podcast. With back to back episodes.
That's it. Backity back. Yes, sir.
It's classic episodes. You get to rewatch those episodes every Thursday.
That's it.
On WTMS TV, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern.com. That's WTMSTV.com. And on that note,
we out of here.
Don't say it.
Okay.
Go to the manspacepodcast.com because Ask the Manspace is up. If you have questions that you want us to answer online, hey, drop us a note and ask the Manspace.
I'm answering everything truthfully. That's
and now, on that note,
we out of here.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Manspace.
Whichever platform you listen to us on, make sure you subscribe and don't miss a show.
Remember to keep up with all the Manspace updates on our website, themanspacepodcast.com.
And you can follow us on Instagram at ManspaceNat1.
Until next time, Manspace Nation, he's Les, I am Russ, and we are out of here.